Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bowtie Security Guy After Dark. I have no idea what number this is, nor do I really care. With me today is my guest, Edna Jonsson. Did I say that right? I know it has, I'm
Yes.
sure people try to extend the S's. I'm not going to be that person. Um, I, I,
Yeah.
I, I wanted you to come on ever since I've kind of been watching your stuff and all the things that you do with BSides, all the stuff that you do for the cyber community. And then I looked at your journey, and your journey is what I would consider the traditional cyber journey for a lot of people. Like you went from SOC to kind of where you are now. Tell me how you got interested in technology and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Okay. So how I got interested, I actually started in real estate. I worked as a realtor for many years, and there were companies. I'm so sorry about the dog. There are companies that would try to sell me, build a website for your listing and things like that. And I got really curious about it, and so I started to build websites. And then I wanted to learn how to do coding. And I enrolled in an edX class online. It was CS50. It's a class at Harvard. And through there, I learned about DEF CON, and I found that so interesting. But I went in and became a developer and worked as a software engineer for several years. And I started teaching software engineering, like development classes. And then I had a conversation with a friend where I was like, uh,
You're
there's somebody
totally
at the
fine.
door. A
That's all
dog is
good.
going nuts.
If you need to answer it, that's fine. I don't care. We wing this. It's live. I don't care. It's getting posted either way.
Yeah, people are gonna know that I have a dog that doesn't like packages being delivered. It's fine.
That's okay. I don't care. We're humans. I try
Yeah.
not to create anything perfect. So you kind of were in software development. How did you even
hmm
kind of score that first gig? Like what did you do?
Um, okay, so I think the key that I had to score my work, my first role, is that I just have like a lot of passion and I just love to talk about everything that I'm doing. So I went and I took a coding boot camp. It was 6 month boot camp, and I had a lot of fun. I kept talking to people. I went to networking events, and I picked up an internship because I just would not stop talking about what I was doing and sharing the code that I was doing, and I was helping other students. And it was really cool. Um, and then I ended up getting referred to my first like real job, like full time, by another student that had gotten a role at. So I got a job at Blue Cross. So I started working there, and that was awesome. I had a great time. And then eventually, like I had a conversation with a friend in my kitchen over a cup of coffee one day, and I'm just talking about like, okay, I really like doing software engineering, but what I'm truly passionate about is cybersecurity. But like, I'm never gonna get there. That is so impossible. And so my friend held my hand and gently told me that it just takes work, and she knows that I can do it because she's seen me do it with the software engineering, and I should just go for it. And so I did. I started to do Try Hack Me and Hack the Box. I enrolled in college and started participating with the Cyber Club, and it was just a wonderful journey. And I'm so glad my friend told me that I could do it, even though I, at the time, didn't think that I had what it took. But
I mean, it's amazing because I felt very similar. Like I'm a high school graduate, homeschool kid,
yeah.
and when I found out this was even a career path, I was like, wait, you can do that for a living? I was like, this is crazy. And I always tell people it's a marathon. It's not a race. Like if you think you're gonna come right out of college into a job, because that's very much what they try to tell you is gonna happen. Um,
hmm
that is not the reality. It's even very difficult to find internships to get some of these degrees. Like I've had multiple people reach out like, "Hey, I can't graduate till I get an internship and no one will hire me."
Yeah.
Um, So I would love that your friend was just like, "Hey, you got this." And I think for females in technology, it's even harder because like the
Hmm.
whole male-driven society as well in technology is very male heavy. It can feel very daunting. So did you just kind of say, you know what, I'm just going to go for it and just kind of put caution to the wind, or what was that kind of deciding factor that you were going to do this until you got it?
Yeah, she helped me get over like I was in my head about it because
Yeah.
you keep hearing like, okay, software engineering, it's very male dominated field, but cybersecurity even more so.
Oh yeah.
And so the way I was looking at it is like, I'm not going to fit in. It's going to be so hard. It's already hard being in software engineering, but really like once I made the switch over and I started to do all this, it's just like, so I like to tell people I chase the dopamine because I have so much fun doing this. And
Yes.
so it's just like I get to do all these competitions and I get to challenge myself. And for me, challenging my brain is just delightful. My brain really likes this kind of work. So getting into it and taking that leap was I just needed that confidence and a friend to like push me off the cliff, just like go do it. You got
Yeah.
this, and
And
believing in me when I wasn't ready to believe in myself yet.
I think that's a big key to success in this field is just kind of reckless abandon and just obsession.
Hmm.
I feel like that's where it comes in because for me with my autism and ADHD, like I get like super hyper focused, like and I'm like, I'm going to learn everything about new subject here. In cyber,
Yeah.
I feel is incredibly conducive to the neurospicy because like it's a designed to constantly keep you on your toes, constantly keep you going.
Hmm.
And software development to an extent is kind of that way, but it's a slower, less rapid pace. I feel like
Yeah.
there's more things that are prescriptive. You're going to be using the same languages for a while, but like with cyber, it's like what you knew yesterday is now wrong, and now you've got to adjust. One of the questions I always ask during an interview is like, what's the last thing you read and what did you learn from it? And if somebody can't answer that question, they're not a cyber professional because you
Hmm.
have to constantly read. You have to constantly understand the latest threats. It is a job of constant learning. And if that's something that sounds amazing, like I hated school because it's very prescriptive. It's very
Hmm.
much like, hey, you don't fit in this box. So I'm sorry, you're not going to do well. That's why I ended up being homeschooled was because I didn't fit in that box. They put
Yeah.
me in gifted classes, I failed. They put me in slower learning classes, I didn't do well there either. So
Right.
it's like where did I fit? And I feel like cyber is a place where the people who don't fit anywhere fit, at
Hmm.
least to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's gotten so much better for women too over the years because I've been in technology now for 20 years and it was like to see a female in technology was like unheard of. Now female leaders are becoming more common. There's a lot more of that which I love because the female mind is so different than the way a guy will attack a problem and it's really cool to have that aspect. So you got into your first role in cyber was working at a SOC. Is that what I saw on LinkedIn?
Yes. Yes. My first role was at Binary Defense, and whatever. It was just an amazing experience, and I got to work with a great team. I felt so lucky. It was a great start.
I felt that sock was really, really hard for me because it was very repetitive.
Hmm.
And for me, that repetitiveness, being able to apply the same logic and the same decision factors and really caring about it was
Yeah.
very hard. I try to explain to people working in a SOC is the definition of insanity. Because you do the same things over and over again and you expect different results. You're like,
Hmm.
I've validated this false positive 19 times, but maybe on the 20th time it's going to be valid. And sometimes it is.
Yeah.
So how long was it before you saw your first real threat? Like, how long was it when you were in the role where you actually identified something that was anomalous that was an attacker?
So when I started, it was in December of 2021. And if you remember what was happening then, that was when Log4j came out.
Oh God, yeah.
So I went straight into the deep end. It was like go. So yeah, it was
Everything is
just
on fire. Yeah.
yes, it was basically just right away. So
Oh, that's
um
hilarious because
yeah.
that is literally the worst time in like the last decade to start a sock job because
Hmm.
everything was triggering Log4j alerts. And
Yes, it
and everything ran it. I mean, it was
Mhm.
everywhere and it was prevalent in everything. It's like, oh, you're Apache that has this, then you've got this, and inside this jar file, 10 layers deep, and people didn't even know how to fix it in most cases, right? We're
Yeah.
at that time we were all just kind of winging it. So did you work a lot of overtime during that time? Like, was there
No,
a big sacrifice, or was it more of a since it's SOC, they kind of had that follow the sun model?
yeah, it's follow the sun. It was a binary defense has a 24/7 SOC. So
Yeah.
there's analysts all around the clock constantly watching. So I didn't have to work any overtime. It was just, you're drinking from the fire hose and you got a lot going on. So it
Yeah.
was it was an interesting, first experience, but it got better after that and a little, little less chaotic.
Well, coming into that, everything else like seems easy, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Because that was probably one of the more chaotic times. And looking at your kind of career growth, you did you go directly from SOC into incident response, or was there a pivot in between there that you did?
Um, yeah, so I now work in a SOC at a hospital and I I'm SOC cybersecurity like engineer and incident response. So I get to do a variety of things and I really like that in this role
That's
where I
that's the
have
best part. So, what's your favorite part about kind of the incident response role? A lot of people don't understand that. Can you explain what an incident responder does?
yeah, so if there is a true positive in your environment and you need to work on remediating that and making sure that the threat is isolated and the business can still keep doing what the business does because that's why you're there. You're there to make sure that they keep everything running and don't lose money or data. So it's I like going into the fire and figuring things out when you've got that, pressure of this has to happen like both well and fast. I thrive in that environment. It's
Yeah, chaos is. I'm a dopamine addict, as you have mentioned
mhm.
you are.
Yes.
I always try to explain to people having ADHD is like having a drug addiction. But like instead of going to the corner guy to buy drugs, everyone can be your drug. Like you're just
Yes.
like you're like, hey, this excites me today, and then you get really excited for like a week, and then you're like, I am now bored, and then you just move
Hmm.
on to something else. And I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not saying you're neurodiverse. I'm just simply saying that
Oh, I am.
that's okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. I didn't want to put you on the spot. So,
Yeah.
it, have you found that being neurodiverse kind of gives you a competitive edge in incident response because of your ability to just completely hyper focus and go
Hmm.
calm during a panic situation?
Yes. Yeah. I think like I have a mixture of ADHD and autism. So I
Hey,
have that like specific hyper focus. I can work
yeah.
for like in tunnel vision. I'm doing my task and my task will get done really well.
What
So,
people don't understand, because I'm also a fellow odd ADHDer,
yeah.
is that you will literally forget to eat because your
Hmm.
body does not give you signs or indicators that you require food.
Yeah.
And you'll be so hyper focused. Like my kids will, back when I used to do incident response as a full-time gig at Disney, like they would like slide notes to me like, have you eaten? Like,
Aw.
how long has it been since you've had food? Like,
Yeah.
or
Aw.
my wife would just kind of slip food over to kind of keep me alive. What
Yeah.
are some things that you've kind of done as like coping mechanisms, knowing that hyperfocus can be incredibly detrimental to your health and your well-being? Like, have you created anything or done anything different to kind of help break you out of the cycle, so to speak, when you're working an incident?
Yeah, I have alarms on my phone to tell me to eat. My doctor actually told me to do that because
I do too.
we
Yep.
we were talking one day and I was like, yeah, I have my med reminders, and she's like, you're not, you need to eat multiple meals a day, not just like one or two. And I'm like, okay. So my doctor told me to make alarms on my phone, so I will make sure to eat.
Yeah.
So that's something that's
It's
just
it's so funny though, but like it's so true. And when you tell people, they're like, "There's no way you forget to eat." It's like, no, like literally, it is not even something that comes to mind,
yeah.
like
Hmm.
at all. Um, because when you become hyper focused, there's two things that happen: is you get obsessed, and your mind is now fully occupied, and you're getting a constant stream of dopamine from whatever task you're doing. So you're hooked up to your dopamine feed, and nothing else matters.
Yeah.
And if someone comes in and asks you a question, or like says, "Hey, did you eat?" It is incredibly jarring. I
Hmm.
try to explain to people that breaking someone's hyperfocus when you have ADHD is literally like coming up and shaking me violently.
Hmm.
Um, because
Yeah.
it really just wrecks my entire flow and everything I'm doing, and it's very hard sometimes to get back into it. Do you have similar issues?
Yeah. I definitely relate to that a lot when I was writing code, and I still will write code. And if somebody is interrupting me while I'm in that flow, it's like it took me so long to get into that flow of like where I understood everything that was happening here, and now I'm like I have to get back into that headspace, and it takes me a minute. So yeah, I definitely relate to that.
So one of the things that I've seen with you is that you put yourself out there a lot. You're
Yeah.
always kind of putting yourself out there. I know for me, that was a constant struggle and an absolute kind of fear where I adopted the motto of embrace the uncomfortable. If it
Hmm.
made me uncomfortable, I would do it. It's very
Yeah.
similar to immersion therapy, is kind of how I got past all those. Is
Yeah.
that similar to what you did, where you're just like, I'm just going to do it? Because for me, someone's like, hey, do you want to go to B-Sides? I'm like,
Yeah.
dear God, no, I would rather do literally anything else. But when I get there, it's fun. But like
Yeah.
that my instant gut response is I want to stay in my house because it's safe, and I don't want to go deal with other people because I can't control that environment. But are you similar where you've had to kind of teach yourself the social
Yeah.
skills
Yeah.
and learn?
I have a lot of like I'm an introverted heart. People think I'm an extrovert, but really I'm an introvert. I get all of my energy from like being at home and doing things by myself. But I also get joy from being around people who have similar interests. And so um, I I get excited when I'm like learning with others and being around others and building communities. So I will go and do the conferences and stuff. Um, in the beginning, I was like just hanging out with the DEF CON groups, like the little DC groups, because they're small groups. And I could get the experience of learning and being around community with a small group. And then over time, I have started to go out to conferences, and it's scary. Um, I went to my first conference in 2020, in February 2020, and that was BSides Tampa. And I was hanging out with I was volunteering with the mental health hackers because I was like, I know those are my people, so at least like I'll have a nice space to hang out with people who are just chill
100%.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And then my goal was to go out and like go to conferences and be social. And then what ended up happening was the pandemic hit and everything went online. And then I thrived
Oh my
because
God.
I could be at home attending all these conferences everywhere. It
The
was
pandemic
fantastic.
Yeah, it was the greatest time for us introverts. And like
Yes.
everyone with autism would like rejoiced. I now no longer had to like make up an excuse not to go to your social function.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and I
So,
feel terrible because a lot of people it was really difficult, right? It was really hard, but for me as an introvert like you are, it was the greatest time because I didn't have to go anywhere and I didn't feel social pressure to go places,
yeah.
which I thought was kind of lovely in that regard. So
Hmm.
you've really what I've seen you do is kind of take all of the things that were hard for you to do and then try to educate others, which is
Yeah.
one of the biggest reasons I kind of wanted you to come hang is because I feel like those social skills and those soft skills are the
Hmm.
difference between finding a job now and not. Like
Yeah.
I don't think you can just be really smart and technical anymore unless you want to work for a soulless, company or something like that that just wants to churn and burn you. But like
Yeah.
I don't think that's an option anymore. Where the smartest person in the room used to be able to get a job even though they were arrogant, they're hard to work with, they were difficult to deal with. Now it's like, hey, that's great that you're like, top 1% in try hack me and you're one of the greatest hackers in the world, but you're kind of a jerk. I don't want to hang with you, so I'm not going to hire you. We're going to
Yeah.
hire this person with less skill who's just more personable.
Hmm.
Um, are you seeing
Yeah.
similar and kind of are you when you're helping mentor people, which I see that you do a lot of, like
Yeah.
how are you kind of educating these young people who are trying to get into cyber? What's your advice to them if they were trying to kind of break into this environment, especially now, which is like the
Yeah.
hardest time ever?
Yeah. So, the what I learned when I was starting to network and stuff. Okay, so I was a facilitator for Girls Who Code Club for 5 years.
Nice.
And their thing when you start out is they teach you be brave. And that has also helped teach me to be brave because I'm repeating this in my head. And the more that you hear something and repeat it to yourself, like you start to believe it.
Yep.
So I had to learn to be brave, to put myself out there and meet people and talk to people and network and all of that. And I think networking with other people is the most important thing that's going to help you get a job because people they like to hire people that they know and trust. And the
Yep.
only way that you're going to become somebody that they know and trust is for you to show up and do
Put in your time.
things.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah. So it's you have to both be technical and also be networking. And that can be hard for people to get out there and talk to people because they might have imposter syndrome. They might just not have a lot of time in the day. But I know that, people have kids and they have a lot of responsibilities in their lives. They got to work and all of that. But it really does make a difference when you go out and show up in your community and meet people and talk to people and also use LinkedIn. LinkedIn has a lot of opportunities on there when you start connecting with people and talking with them. Even if you can't show up to all of the events, show up for people in your community and talk to them, comment on their posts and be sociable. That's my advice.
Yeah, no, and it kills me as much as I could tell it's kind of killing you because like it's no longer an option. You
Yeah.
have to develop what I would consider neurotypical social skills.
Hmm.
When I first got into technology, I realized, okay, like there's a lot of smart people, but there's not a lot of people who are personable, and I always had imposter syndrome for
Yeah.
till I was about 40. I've only lost it for maybe 4 years, right? So
Yeah.
I was horrified. I didn't know anything. I had no real certificates. I got it. I got an opportunity and I took it and I became the leader of IoT and mobile technology at Disney. And it was an amazing thing, but it was because of my imposter syndrome, I was excellent.
Hmm.
I used my imposter syndrome to empower me and to make it so I never quit learning. I
Yeah.
never accepted kind of the bare minimum. Because imposter syndrome, everyone has it. It's how you
Hmm.
choose to harness it,
Yeah.
whether it's something that kind of breaks you down or whether it's something that builds you up. Because
Mm-hmm.
for me, my imposter syndrome was empowering because I was like, I am not going to stay stupid. I am going to get
Mm-hmm.
educated. I remember when I first joined Disney and somebody showed me Metasploit. And I was like, oh my God, I would go to prison if I had this. Like when I was a kid, this is insane. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, so hang on. There's an entire operating system for hackers now. Because I was so out of the loop. I just became really obsessive with IoT technology when I applied for the job. And later I found out the reason I got the job is because they asked me, hey, why do you want this? And I'm like, I'm obsessed. I can't stop researching it. Like this would be an amazing job because I want to build stuff. I want to do, and it was that excitement that sold
Yeah.
them on me for the role. What I see a lot with new people is that they don't take the time to really dive into the technology. They have what I call surface level technical experience, and they've never built a lab, they've never done any sort of hands-on stuff, they've never done the try hack me stuff, which is fantastic, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And they come into a situation and you ask them how to solve something or problem solve, and that skill is just non-existent because it's not taught in school. They're taught to pass a test,
Mm-hmm.
they're taught.
Yeah.
So how did you learn to kind of, basically learn to troubleshoot, learn to kind of solve those problems? What did you do, in your free time to kind of continue to grow yourself and kind of make yourself better at technology?
So when I was getting my education and starting in college, I was also a member of a makerspace. It's called Tampa Hackerspace. And the people there, I would tell them, "Oh, I'm learning networking." They're like, "Hold on one second. I know somebody that has equipment for you." And soon enough, I have like this huge, huge networking system. It was really old, but it worked. And it was in my trunk and I was taking it home. And then I had to figure out, okay, how do I connect to this? Okay, I need a cable. And then it was just like one thing after another. And then, the next thing when I'm like, oh, I want to set up a server. Okay, this guy has a server and now I have a home server. Like I had an awesome home lab because I had great people that when I asked about something, they were willing to help me figure out how to get the equipment to get hands-on practice. So I wasn't just doing like try hack me, but I was also getting, a
Hands-on.
Proxmox server set up and
Yep.
things like that. So you can do the same, just go to like eBay or Facebook Marketplace or just post on your Facebook page or, in your local groups like, hey, I'm looking for networking equipment. I'm looking for this or the other. A lot of this stuff gets, they come to end of life and companies want to get rid of it.
Yep.
But you can talk to people and get to take it home. Like you might get a server and um, maybe not get the hard drives, but you have to buy hard drives for your server and that's
Yeah.
not as expensive as buying a whole new like server rack.
No, exactly.
So just talk to people and be curious and then get started. And if you can't find all the equipment, you can get a VMware
Yep. Do
set up on
virtual
your,
labs.
yep,
Yeah, for sure.
just set stuff up on the computer that you have at home and
That
start
that's
tinkering and
exactly what I did with mobile security. Like I didn't know much about it and I was applying for a job and I was like, "Oh, I should probably learn this."
yeah.
So, I got real obsessed as I do.
Hmm.
And spent probably 16 hours a day kind of playing in a lab and then forgetting to eat, forgetting to sleep, and then going, "Oh, I should probably also do my real job."
Yeah.
That's also a neurodivergent superpower is we can literally do nothing for 8 hours and then complete 10 hours of work in 2 hours.
Right?
um, because of our ability to kind of hyper focus. There's no middle ground. It's either we're doing nothing or we've done everything really, really fast up front, at least for me.
Yeah.
So so, I mean, this again goes back to those soft skills and those social skills and kind of putting yourself out there because without that, you just simply wouldn't have had those opportunities. And right now, I feel
Hmm.
like that is the key for new people going into cyber and going into technology is that they have to focus on networking as a primary skill as much as they're focusing on their technical skills.
Hmm.
Um, And then building a home lab and building kind of some of that technology to play with is, I think, critical now because that is a skill that a lot of people are losing. Being able to answer simple questions like, you're building a network at home. What do you need? Those are things.
Hmm.
One of the questions I ask in my interviews is, I want you to build me a data center in Alaska. Cost isn't an issue. What do you do? You know,
Hmm.
what what's your what do you how do you attack that problem? And if you've never done even a small scale one, you just would have no concept or understanding of like, oh, maybe I need a firewall, maybe I need UPS backups. You just wouldn't
Yeah.
even think about those things. And that's where I see a lot of people kind of faltering with the people that you're mentoring. How do they kind of get into your orbit to say like, hey, like I'd love to work with you. Like, is that how they approach it, or or do you sometimes have to kind of force it into them? I definitely force my mentorship on people sometimes, because I'm like, you don't want to ask, and I can tell you don't want to
Yeah.
ask, but like I'm happy to help. But how do you engage those relationships?
Um, well, it's usually people will ask me. A lot of times it's people that sign up to volunteer and we'll be having a conversation, and then it will come up like they're looking for ways to break into the field, and so I'll ask like, what are you doing? Are you networking? Do you have a mentor? What are your goals, and what are you doing to get there? And then that's how it usually comes up.
And they go a whole
Yeah.
bunch of nothing. I didn't,
Yeah.
my LinkedIn has four connections. I have the generic, I'm an aspiring cybersecurity professional about message.
Hmm.
And I've made no things to stand out, right? So many people are afraid to be themselves, especially when you've spent your whole life as someone who's neurodiverse. And this field attracts neurodiverse people like a light to flies, right? Like everybody
Yeah.
wants to. If you're neurodiverse, this is a field that you just gravitate towards because it's just pure chaos in motion, and it's one that you'll just thrive and love once you get a taste.
Yeah.
Um, but what I've seen is that first initial kind of stumbling block is like they don't know what to do. They've spent their whole life pretending to be average. How do you then kind of break out of that? And for me, I had a struggle because I've only been on LinkedIn for about a year and a half, and I
Hmm.
was horrified about going by BowTieSecurityGuy. Like I was like, is this going to cost me jobs? And one of my friends who's a recruiter, she goes, not for the right companies.
Yeah.
Like look at it as an employer filter. If they look at your thing and you say like neurodiverse or you say neurospicy and they're like, oh, I don't want that person working for me. Awesome. You just saved yourself a whole bunch of headache.
Yeah.
As much as you may have wanted to have the experience. Is there any other advice that you would give to kind of people looking to make a career transition? Maybe they've been doing technology, knowing the market is as bad as it is it just more about kind of putting yourself out there, maybe sharing content, or what do you recommend?
Yeah. Anything that you can do to put yourself out there, making content is great. Make sure that you put together like goals and what is achievable for you, because what's achievable for you may not be the same as what's achievable for me. Like I have my goals and like what I am focusing on working on for myself, but like for example, I don't expect to be a keynote at a conference anytime soon. That's terrifying for me. But like I am working on putting together talks for conferences like BSides, and I've got a talk at SecretCon coming up. And like I'm excited about that. So my goal is to get better at giving talks and improving those speaking skills. And the only way that I can do that is by practicing. But I'm not going to go like to a keynote. That's not a goal
No.
that I have. Um, I want to
It's
improve, but I don't need
it's
to have the
horrifying. Yeah.
I don't need the spotlight. But it and that might be something that somebody else does not want to do. Like they do not want to get on a stage and talk. Like that sounds terrifying. So that might be better for them to write a blog or put together a
Yeah.
podcast or something like that. And they can do YouTube videos if they're okay with that. Um, Whatever way that works best for you to get out your content, people will appreciate it when you start sharing
Yeah.
knowledge that you have and research and work that you've done. There's going to be somebody out there that will appreciate it. So just get started and start doing it. And then once you do it, tell people about it because if you created it, people have to know about it to go find it and look at it. So it
Yeah.
might be scary to start sharing that once you have it done, but that's how people start to know you as, that's the expert in XYZ.
Yeah.
And that
And,
helps
and,
you build up.
and it lets you become an individual. It shows your individuality, right? For
Hmm.
me, people are always like, "Oh, you're so well spoken. You know, how do you do all the content?" And I'm like, I've stopped caring. Like I
Yeah.
just put it out there and I don't chase perfection. I one of my favorite Japanese philosophies is wabi-sabi, which is basically like embrace the imperfection in it because imperfection is beauty, right? And
Hmm.
for me, I am imperfect, and I am not normal, and I've never been normal, and I've just stopped pretending to be.
Yeah.
And it has been one of the more freeing things that I've seen. And that's what gravitated me toward your page. And that's why I have you on right now, because I feel like so
Yeah.
many people can learn from your story. Because if you and I can do it, I literally went from vomiting and freaking out, like talking in front of two people to speaking in front of a keynote and doing 1,000 people.
Hmm.
Granted, it took me 10 years, but I got there.
Yeah.
And if that's your goal, you can get there. It's just about believing in yourself and kind of really looking inward and saying, I can do it, and not backing down from that. And
Yeah.
and that is your career and my career summed up in a nutshell, which is just I won't accept failure.
Yeah.
Like failure is not an option. And if I fail, that's just my first attempt in learning. I'm going to just get back up and I'm going to try it again.
Hmm.
And I feel like that is the big difference in this field. I can tell normally when I meet with someone whether or not they're going to make it by the fact that they do literally nothing I told them to do. They refuse to change in any way because their comfort bubble is where they feel safe. And if that is who you are, that's fine. But cyber is not a place conducive for comfort bubbles.
Right.
It's just not. You're going to put in crazy hours, you're going to work obscene overtime, you're going to get obsessive over things, you're going to spend so much time learning and developing and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations like working incident response, having to explain to executives what's happening. And those skills are a skill that you have to practice and learn. And I love your story, and I just thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
no problem. That's all I got. Hopefully you all enjoy this. If you do, share, like, subscribe. I don't care. But just go out there, help people, do good things, and kind of put yourself out in the community, and it will come back to you. It will. It has for me. It has for Edna, and it
Hmm.
will for you. But you got to put in what I call sweat equity, and if you're not doing that, you're just not going to get anywhere. But awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for